Hello, I'm Frank Hanaway, and welcome to Big Journey, Small Steps. Last week I talked about the fact that I'm going to be changing the focus of my channel a little bit. It certainly will still remain focused on my spiritual life, but I'm going to be focusing more on my role as a caregiver to my mother who has Alzheimer's disease. It just seems like that might be useful to people, and it'll give me a chance to talk out some of this stuff too. So we will be having my mom on this channel pretty soon. Somebody suggested that, and it's a great suggestion, and I think it would be interesting for all of you to hear her speak and hear her talk a little bit about what it's like to have Alzheimer's, because she's certainly well aware of it. And next week, I probably will be posting the story of how we got the diagnosis, which was crazy. It took a long time to get the diagnosis. But today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our trip to the opera. Last night, my mother and I went to see Die Fleidermaus, and she has a former piano student who has an incredible voice and who sang the role of Adele in Die Fleidermaus last night, which means she sang the laughing song, which is a great favorite. So anyway, and my mom is just enormously proud of her. So when we go out in public, my mom is more and more disoriented in terms of little common associations that you will make. Well, let me tell you, first of all, she doesn't recognize her student very easily when she's in a costume, even though she's made up to look like herself. She's just wearing a period thing, and she asks me over and over and over, is that her, is that her, is that her? And my mother for years was responsible for everything and everybody, including my Down syndrome brother. And as we drive anywhere, my mother goes over how we should be getting there. And last night we were going to a place that she doesn't know how to get to, and I was using Waze, an app on my phone, to get us there. And I could tell it made her a little uncomfortable because my mother is an in-charge kind of person, and that's something that Alzheimer's takes away from you. And I've just come to the realization recently that when we go out in public, that's one of the hardest places for me, because my mom is liable to do or say things that don't follow the unwritten or the written rules of social behavior. And for about the past year and a half, I guess, she makes this little kind of a sing-song noise almost constantly, and she does it very quietly, but it drives her crazy too, and she can't stop. I mean, she mentions it from time to time, and so that's already going on. Though I must say that now, when I was growing up, nobody made a sound when you went to a concert, but people don't follow that quite as religiously as they used to. So that's not as bad. But she asks me over and over, is that her student? And she tends to clap in the wrong places. And I'm trying to make sure she's having a good time without fussing at her too much and keeping her from talking out loud and saying things. She has a tendency to point out things about people's physical behavior right out loud. Now, what's interesting to me is that I had this predetermined idea of what Alzheimer's was and what it was going to be like, but as the brain starts to atrophy, it in some people it atrophies in different, it just doesn't happen in this very predictable way. And so that was one of the troubles we had in getting her diagnosis, was her behavior didn't seem like an Alzheimer's patient. So anyway, it was lovely, and we really did have a great time, and I really kept trying to put myself in my mother's place, like, and forget about me. But it's so funny to go someplace with the very person who taught me how to behave at a concert and them not know anymore. And I keep going over this passage from the Imitation of Christ that talks about reaching out. And it hit me last night that before I speak, I should give the Lord a chance to get in there and give me a clue about what to say. I have always had this, I'm an enthusiastic conversationalist, which is a euphemism for saying I cut in on people unintentionally all the time. If there's a pause in the conversation, I get in there. And I thought, I do the same thing with my higher power that's trying to direct me. Sometimes I get in there before I've listened. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really appreciate you spending time with me. Sita's out there just having a fit out on the porch, and I gotta let her in. It's kind of chilly. So from the bottom of my heart, as I always do, I'd like to wish you peace and joy.